Pirate Nation on X, Larian CEO Sven Vinke thinks game reviewers should also be reviewed. Vinke now thinks there should be a system where video game reviewers are critiqued and given a score too. Leftist game journals are turning on Sven. Curious how that works, isn't it? Now, here's the problem that I have with this. He deleted it. I think this is a banger message to get out there and a great idea for a program to be created or a website to filter all the information on each journalist for people to have a quick lookup on each one. I try to do it on smashjt.com with Kotaku Detected. It is all manual though, and it takes a lot of work to keep up with everything. If there was a way to automate and crawl the websites for the information like Metacritic does or things like that, that would be fascinating. Jeff Gertzman quote tweet, try a couple decades of shitty emails ranging from simple insults all the way up to death threats from idiot fanboys who can't handle you giving a game only an 8 out of 10 and see which one puts more calluses on your soul, dummy. You'd fold in 6 months or less. You've got to be kidding me. Like, first off, do these people think that YouTubers don't get the same amount, if not 10 times, nay, 100 times worse on a daily basis? The difference is these can't handle criticism or unwanted messages from people. It happens. It sucks. And I always disavow it. But unfortunately, it is the internet and it is omnipresent and it will always be a part of it. There will always be some people that are just really upset and they really want to let you know that they're mad at you for whatever reason. It happens. But my goodness, what a tough guy journal. Right? And this is quote tweeting on obviously on Blue Sky or Blue Cry, Sven saying, sometimes I think it'd be a good idea for critics to be scored, Metacritic style, based on how others evaluate their criticism. I like to imagine it would encourage a bit more restraint. The harsh words do real damage. You shouldn't have to grow calluses on your soul just because you want to publish something. Based. I'm all for it. Like, let people have a quick way to look up who the person is to get an idea of, okay, this is what they are scored on the measurement scale based off of what they gave the game, based off of what the user scores are of the game. That's all you need to do to give it the average of where they would land on database. But apparently journalists don't want that information out. They already know that they'd be on the hot seat immediately. They don't want a Metacritic on them. They know that developers have their jobs on the line and bonuses on the line with Metacritic. They don't want a social credit score for how they're doing. They look at that as a way to control them. These are the people that want to control other people. They don't want someone being able to judge them, as I've learned personally many times. This is retweeted by Old Man Grim. Sandy Peterson says, never believe a professional game reviewer. The truth is not in them. When I was at Microprose in 1988 to 1993, they openly asked us for bribes for good reviews. They would literally say shit like, hey, fly me to Baltimore so I can see the game in person. Then expect whining and dining. The most egregious even asked for honorarium. When I was at Ensemble Studios, 1997 and 2009, they weren't as overt. Instead, they would call us and make suggestions such as, hey, we're going to review Rise of Rome in our November issue. Would you like to buy a full-page ad to occupy it? Wow. You don't hate journals enough. I had enough experience with these guys to lose 100% of respect for them. Now I rely on the reviewers who aren't part of an organization, like Angry Joe, well, careful with that one, or Sophia Norwitz. Sure, they have access to grind and can make mistakes or have severe TDS, but I can handle that. What I can't handle is some dude writing a 4-page review of a game after reading the back of a box. And this is quote tweeting Kyle, and I've covered this previously as well with this Morgan Park guy that seems to promote every failing game as it's the next big thing. You do not hate journals enough. This is back in 2024. I said, the absolute state of professional game journalism. Say what you will about how useless the Game Awards show is, but working in the video game industry and getting paid for it, they aren't even excited to see what may be new out there to report on. Speaks volumes. This is John Walker from Kotaku. You don't have to watch the Game Awards. You can just look at the trailers tomorrow. This is a quote unquote professional journalist. That's something that you say if you don't give a shit about what you're doing, where you're not even excited about covering your industry anymore. You're just sure it's a job at that point. You can't do this as a job. You have to love this. That's why it's not working for these journos out. And we have this bonsai boy guy that was going after Dr. Disrespect the other day and got completely lit up by him. And this is the pronoun he, him, ally with the rainbow flag, game critic. Probably the only fair review I've seen. And of course, it came from someone who actually did the due diligence of playing it for several hours before forming an opinion. If you can't sit down on a game's launch and play it for 8 hours like a job, you're not a critic or reviewer. You're not a gamer. A gamer, it literally, you can tell in the first 10 minutes of playing a game if it's worth its salt. You don't need 8 fucking hours to figure it out. Give me 10 to 15 minutes. And that includes the issues, hiccups, and loading into a game. If it takes 10 to 15 minutes to even get into the game, I'm out, bro. Sorry. Maybe I'll try another day. I don't know. But this can't happen. Highguard honest review after 12 hours of play and goes through all the specifics of everything. Great. The game clearly suffers from hate because some people decided before release that would be bad. I didn't see that. Across the board, people were more curious than anything. They were really interested to see if this game really was as good as what Jeff Keighley was building it up to be. If anything, it being the last game at the Game Awards gave it some more attention for people to be like, okay, I wasn't going to care about this style of game, but since it was the one more thing game, I will pay attention. I didn't see people looking to destroy it instantly. I saw some people saying, oh, it looks like Concord, or there are some Concord workers at the company. But hey, you never know. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it will actually surprise people. And then people dove into playing it and were like, yeah, no, it's exactly what we thought it was going to be. Without that bias, I'm convinced the Steam score would have been much higher. Sure, bro. I'm honestly angry at influencers who start the game, play one match, and put zero effort into giving it a fair chance. They're allowed to do that, by the way. Like if they're playing it and not feeling it, that welcome to how people are allowed to feel about stuff. You can't put a gun to their head and be like, was that Clockwork Orange, where they stick their eyeballs open and they're like, you have to play this game and sit in this chair and do not get up for 8 hours. Your job is not to surf trends, but to actually test the game so people can actually trust your judgment objectively. And yes, I'm targeting content creators. You've done an insanely bad job reviewing the game. I have not reviewed the game. I have covered people who have played the game and shared my feelings on why I don't care to play the game. People that I trust. Vera Dark, spending hours upon hours playing it. I was watching her play it. I was like, this looks boring as sin. The whole comments said we were saying the same thing. Like, this is boring. The map's too big. What do you want out of people? Do you want us to lie and piss on you and tell you it's raining? Like, what do you want? Yes, it's not perfect, like most releases, but it's very far from the disaster some reviews describe. You have the right to not like a game. Okay, so that kind of flies completely in the face of everything you just said. You do not have the right to publish a full review without actually reviewing it. That's unfair. That's sad. And that's concerning for the future of gaming. Shame. I would actually argue, if you've been playing games your entire life, you know exactly what you're getting into. Give yourself 15, 25 minutes with a game, half an hour, play a couple matches. You understand it. You see what it has to offer, and you can either decide, here's the craziest part about all of it. Ready? You can decide to keep playing because you're really enjoying it, or you can decide to walk away because you don't. So again, saying people aren't allowed to give it a full review after playing it for half an hour, it's like, what do you want? They played it and decided, I don't like it. You want to say that you aren't allowed to review it until you play it more? Even if you're not liking it, maybe eventually you will like it. Like, what are we doing here? You can't do that. By the way, 76% of people who played 3 hours, so 4 to 5 game, rate it positively. So of course you have the argument, I should not need 10 hours to enjoy the game. But that's not even the case. 3 hours is literally the most of gamers' one daily session. I'm amazed. This is discounting the people that stopped playing because they didn't like it, though. If they kept playing for 3 hours, you think that they would have changed their mind? No, this is a confirmation bias of people that do enjoy what they're playing for the first half hour and continue playing it. That doesn't tell you anything. Oh my God. The absolute state of journalism right now, and Highguard is exposing it. Emerald Apple, Highguard made gaming history. The game broke a new record for the highest percent player drop in under 24 hours. From 97,000 at peak, it dropped to 8,399 players at the lowest point in a single day. 91% concurrent player drop, putting it in line with the most legendary Steam launch disasters. But don't worry, guys. Apparently, that's just gamers hating on a game because they just arbitrarily decided this is a game that they're going to take down next. Okay. Based off of what, by the way? I'm not even seeing people saying this is a DEI game, even though there's definitely some people that are working at the company that you could make the argument for. There's definitely some pronouns that are rumored to be a part of the game. I'm not even seeing people say anything DEI about it. They're just like, it's just not good. That's even worse. No other game in history of video games has achieved this prestigious award. Other close games had 75 to 85% player drop off within 2 to 3 days, like The Day Before or Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Although Concord remains the largest flop, it never gained a high peak of concurrent player count to have a strong drop in player base. Down 91%. That is absurd. Absurd. And speaking of game journals, this is Pirate Nation saying, Highguard devs confirm Jeff Keighley gave them the finale spot at the Game Awards after playing the game. Jeff came in, played the game, and was blown away. He asked us to be a part of the Game Awards and do something kind of special.
The deviation for us for TGAs was interesting. Jeff is a friend of the studio. We've known him for a long time back.
There you go. Friend of the studio. Friend of the studio. What more do you need to hear? You wonder why this kind of stuff happens. Of course, people are human. Relationships get formed. People become friends. It's just, that's the whole premise of Gamergate. The essence of ethics and journalism. The friendships behind the scenes, you start giving people higher positions or spotlighting things they don't need to pay for. And then it gives expectations through the wazoo that should have never been there in the first place.
In the Titanfall days, and Jeff came in and played the game, and he was blown away. Yeah. He asked us to be a part of the TGAs and do something, kind of special by putting this kind of game there in an indie studio. And quite frankly, we were honored to, we've got big franchises in our past, but nobody knows who Wildlight is. So to be on the stage in the biggest show with so many other known games and devs felt like an honor. And so we revealed a trailer there, and ultimately we went back to our game plan, which is let's stay focused, let's stay quiet for the next 6 weeks, and really kind of nothing speaks better to players than hands on the sticks. And so, today as you're watching this at home, the game is available and you can now play.
I don't necessarily disagree with them on that approach. I think the problem is the game just wasn't good enough, which again speaks to how that's even worse for the situation. This is a live look, day 2 of Highguard. Oh God, this is currently just shy of 11 p.m. Pacific time on the West Coast on a Wednesday night. It has dropped from nearly 100,000 concurrent players to 6,500. What's this, 48 hours? Are we even 48 hours into the launch? Like, I think just over that. Holy crap. Yikes. It's hitting lower lows with each day too. That is not a great trajectory for this, and you get the game journals out there trying to push the propaganda of trust us, bro, this is good because ethics and journalism. You know how IGN always scores things a 7, seemingly? I just found out there was a video from 2 years ago. Another IGN 7? Why so many games score 7 and above?
Is the best it's ever felt.
Well-executed expansion pack rather than a brand new game. And a beautiful sense of style keeps it clean up, making it feel like a promising first
What
attempt.
is truly a unique and charming action RPG.
Why is it that the big name stuff rarely seems to score below a 7?
A satisfying RPG to plunder your way through.
There are a few reasons for this, and none of them have anything to do with the reluctance to give low scores when we think they're warranted.
It just doesn't work here.
The reality
It's cope. This is cope. There's no reason a review outlet should ever have to put this video out unless they're trying to explain away what they're doing.
is there are simply far too many things coming out every day to review them all. Most are underwhelming or clearly bad, and go completely unnoticed by the vast majority of people.
It's the fundamentally flawed choices behind that mediocrity that take Balan Wonderworld.
So what they're saying here, basically, there's so many bad games that come out every day that we don't review. We only pick to review the good games. How the fuck do you know that if you're not playing the bad ones? I have so many questions.
The rarest of all are the surprise hit gems that come out of nowhere and are all but impossible to predict.
Apex Legends makes squad-based battle royale work better than thought possible, even when playing with a randomly matched team.
Given that IGN can only handle so many reviews at once, and we generally review around 1,000 things per year across all categories, we have to pick and choose which to review and which to let sail by. When it's not obvious that something is a big deal, like a Grand Theft Auto or an Avengers movie or a Game of Thrones
highly anticipated series.
So hold on a second. In context of what we were just talking about earlier in this video, about how this guy was going on this whole diatribe about how you need to actually play a game and sit down for 8 hours to be able to give it a full review score, to be able to know if it's good or not. And that's the sentiment that these toxic positivity peddlers are going with. How come IGN doesn't have to sit down with these bad games for 8 hours to realize that? It's weird. They're allowed to make the rules, apparently. They can pick the games they want, and people just trust them.
available tools like Google Trends and YouTube. Did a lot of people check out the trailer for a new movie? It's a safe bet they'll be interested to know more.
As a whole, it's still a wildly good time that fans of the games in particular are sure to enjoy.
Did just a few thousand check it out on YouTube?
This is like a terrible video. Like, this is exposing IGN for being even shittier than I thought they were.
And that if we don't review something, we didn't think anybody cared or assumed that it isn't good. Or we have too many irons in the fire due to a busy time of year. And by the time we'd be able to circle back and review it, the question of whether it was good or not would have been long since settled. In those cases, we generally have to wait for another opportunity to come around, such as a port to another platform that opens a game up to a new audience or a streaming date.
Makes it a truly remarkable RPG.
If it does look great enough to pique your interest, it usually ends up being at least okay.
Combat is flashy and fun enough to entertain.
And especially in the
They gave Forspoken a 6. They gave Forspoken a 6.
most cases,
I'm not gonna. We got like 30 seconds left. I'm not even gonna keep going with it. But at the end of the day, this is just a lot of cope being like, let's explain why we are doing what we do and why everything's a 7. And then they go ahead and explain literally nothing that explains anything. Just like, here, we do actually give other game scores, but here's why everything else is a 7. It's so perfectly IGN to encapsulate modern journalism. I couldn't have said it better myself than they did. I just think it's funny, going back to this right here. Never believe a professional game reviewer. It's a dying industry, and I'd say it's long overdue. The advent of YouTube, Twitch, gameplay streams, actual gamers playing the games, showcasing the games, explaining in real time what they like about them, what they don't, or playing the game in their own time and stepping back and doing a full professional review about it afterwards, building an audience of people that trust their feelings and have similar tastes in games. This is the best way to figure out if a game is for you or not. And that's why these big outlets are dying. And ironically, it's also why these big outlets hate us with a passion, because they know at the end of the day, we're the people replacing them. And there are no jobs opening back up over there. Once they shut down, they're gone for good. But I'll leave that there.